Hi, this is Mrs. Neal, and we're going to talk about Aesop's fables and why are these in a lesson about symbolism? Who wrote these fables? Well, it's believed that there was a slave named Aesop or Aesop who lived in the 6th century BC, which was 600 years before the birth of Christ. And he wrote these little stories, and they were told orally to people and retold again and again because they didn't have writing back then. And they became commonly known by everyone. And he meant them to be stories that would teach a lesson as well as to entertain. He wanted to encourage people to behave well towards other people. All of the fables feature animals doing human-like things, and there are about 725 of them. Moving into more modern times, these fables became popular mostly in France and the United States starting in the late 1400s. They were used as ways to teach lessons to children to encourage them to behave well and to be moral individuals. Children liked the stories because they were entertaining. The animals were cute and funny, and the children learned at the same time. These fables were put together and published in children's books. In total, there are about 725 or so of these fables. One of the best known is The Tortoise and the Hare. Do you know it? Let's see. Here's the story. One day, a hare was bragging about how fast he could run. He bragged and even laughed at the tortoise, who was so slow. The tortoise stretched out his long neck and challenged the hare to a race, which, of course, made the hare laugh. My, what a joke, thought the hare. A race, indeed, a race. Oh, what fun! My, a race, of course, Mr. Tortoise, we shall race, said the hare. The forest animals met and mapped out the course. The race began, and the hare, being such a swift runner, soon left the tortoise far behind. About halfway through the course, it occurred to the hare that he had plenty of time to beat the slow-trodden tortoise. Oh my, thought the hare, I have plenty of time to play in the meadow here, and so he did. After the hare finished playing, he decided that he had time to take a little nap. I have plenty of time to beat that tortoise, he thought, and he cuddled up against a tree and dozed. The tortoise, in the meantime, continued to plod on, albeit ever so slowly. He never stopped, but took one good step after another. The hare finally woke from his nap. Time to get going, he thought, and off he went faster than he had ever run before. He dashed as quickly as anyone ever could up to the finish line, where he met the tortoise, who was patiently awaiting his arrival. So what is the moral of this story? What lesson does this story teach us? Well, how about this? Slow and steady wins the race. The tortoise won because he was determined and did not stop for a second. The hare lost because he was overconfident and had taken his win for granted. So how does this relate to you in real life? And why are fables a type of symbol? And why have fables been passed down for so many years and people today know exactly what you're talking about when you talk about Aesop's fable, The Tortoise and the Hare? Well, let's say that you are a slow reader and all the kids in your class finish reading way before you do. So they start to goof around. But you keep working away at reading and you eventually finish the story. Then your teacher quizzes the class on what everyone read. You get a 95 on the quiz. The others get in the 80s. The teacher says to you, "Remember the tortoise and the hare." What does she mean? She means that even though you did not read the fastest You read the best and remembered more of the information than any of the other kids. Remember, it's not always the fastest and the flashiest who wins everything in life.